Ever feel like you're missing out on prime trading opportunities because you're stuck in the daily grind?
hmm
What if I told you there's a way to potentially turn like those after-dinner hours into a Forex advantage?
That's the beauty of the ICT Asian Killzone strategy.
Okay.
It's like finding a secret entrance to the market when everyone else is stuck at the main gate.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Break this down for me. What exactly is asterisk the kill zone, and why is it so special?
It all starts with understanding right market dynamics. You see, most traders, they focus on the London and New York sessions when volume and volatility are at their peak. But that also means more competition, tighter spreads, and potentially less room for profit.
Makes sense. It's like trying to catch a wave when everyone and their surfer uncle is already out there.
Right.
Too much competition.
Exactly. But the Asian session, particularly between 7 p.m. and midnight EST, that's when things get really interesting. Major market players in London and New York are offline, leaving a sort of vacuum.
So it's quieter, but is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Doesn't less activity mean fewer opportunities?
Quite the opposite.
Okay.
What's fascinating about the kill zone is that it flips the script. Instead of reacting to the chaos of those peak sessions, you're using the relative calm of the Asian session to anticipate where the market might move asterisk before asterisk the big players even wake up.
Now that's what I call an aha moment. So
Right.
how do we tap into this? Are we stalking traders' sleep schedules now?
Not quite. Remember Michael Hedelston, the trader who goes by Inner Circle Trader or ICT? He's the mastermind behind this strategy, and he's identified specific patterns that frequently emerge during this Asian session window.
Right, you mentioned these optimal trade entry patterns earlier. Before we dive into those, I have a quick clarification. You mentioned focusing on specific currency pairs during this time. What should we be looking at?
Great question. While the US dollar is usually the main character in Forex, it takes a bit of a back seat during the Asian session. ICT emphasizes what we call crosses. These are currency pairs that are heavily influenced by Asian markets but don't involve the US dollar.
For those of us who need a Forex 101 refresher, could you give us some examples?
Absolutely. Think of the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the Japanese yen. Pairs like the Aussie yen or even the pound Aussie become particularly active during this kill zone window.
So when Asia wakes up, these currencies are the first ones to start moving and shaking.
Exactly.
Got it. But how do we know asterisk when asterisk to make a move during this Asian session?
Right.
What are we looking for in the charts? This is where those optimal trade entry patterns come into play,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into the technical weeds, give me a sense of the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
How reliable are these patterns?
Right.
Are we talking about consistent wins during the kill zone, or is it more nuanced than that?
It's definitely more nuanced,
Okay.
but that's what makes it so fascinating. ICT isn't saying every kill zone setup is a guaranteed win.
Right.
It's about recognizing high probability setups and understanding the story the market is telling.
Story. Okay, now you're speaking my language.
Mm.
Give me an example of one of these optimal trade entry patterns and what story it might tell a kill zone trader.
Okay, let's take the Aussie yen on a 15-minute chart, for example.
Right.
Imagine you see the price bouncing between two converging lines, almost like a narrowing tunnel. That's a symmetrical sweep, and when it happens during the kill zone, it can signal a breakout opportunity.
So the market's getting antsy, ready to make a move.
Exactly. It's like the calm before the storm. But remember, even when those big, flashy patterns aren't present, the Asian session can still give you an edge. ICT emphasizes that periods of consolidation, those times when the market seems to be taking a breather, can be incredibly valuable.
You mentioned that earlier, something about how those quiet moments can actually give us clues about the entire trading day.
Absolutely. Think of it like this. Those consolidations during the kill zone can act like a coiled spring. They build up potential energy that gets released as other markets come online.
So by watching how a currency pair behaves during the Asian session, we can anticipate its potential highs or lows, even before the London and New York traders jump in and shake things up.
Precisely. It's like getting a sneak peek at the day's trading range before the main event. But remember, this isn't about day trading exclusively during the Asian session.
Right.
It's about using these kill zone insights to inform your trading decisions throughout the entire 24-hour cycle.
You know, I actually tried this strategy on a demo account last night just to see what would happen.
Yep.
And I have to say, even on a demo account, it was fascinating to watch those kill zone patterns play out. It really opened my eyes to how much information the market reveals, even when the volume is like relatively low.
That's the beauty of this approach. It's like learning a new language. Once you understand the grammar and vocabulary of the Asian session, you can start to decipher the messages the market is sending.
So it's not just about blindly following signals, but about becoming more informed traders, regardless of the strategy we use.
Right.
But let's talk about putting this knowledge into action. You mentioned backtesting before. Walk us through that. Why is it so crucial, especially for a strategy like this?
Well, back testing is like having a time machine for your trading capital. Before you risk a single dollar in live trading, you can test this Killzone strategy on historical data.
So we're essentially simulating trades, looking back in time to see if those kill zone patterns actually led to profits.
Precisely. And not just profits, but also how the strategy would have performed in different market conditions. Was it more effective during periods of high volatility or low volatility? Were there certain times when the signals were less reliable?
It's like a dress rehearsal for our trading capital. We get to see how the strategy would have performed before we go live on opening night.
That's a great analogy. And remember, this deep dive is all about giving you the knowledge and tools to be a more informed trader.
Exactly. We always encourage our listeners to do their own research, potentially seek advice from qualified financial professionals, and most importantly, never risk more than they can afford to lose.
Couldn't agree more. Now, before we wrap up, I want to emphasize something crucial, that this Killzone strategy highlights context is king in trading. This approach is effective because it understands the unique dynamics of a specific trading session.
So it's not about finding a single holy grail strategy and sticking with it blindly. It's about understanding asterisk, why asterisk it works, asterisk when asterisk it works, and what market conditions make it viable.
You've hit the nail on the head. The Asian Killzone is just one tool in a trader's toolkit. Every market session, every currency pair, every economic indicator, they all tell a story. And the more stories you understand, the better equipped you'll be to make informed trading decisions.
It's about becoming market detectives, looking for clues, connecting the dots, and always seeking to understand the bigger picture.
I like that. Maybe you should consider a career change.
I think I'll stick to podcasting for now, but I'm definitely feeling more like a market detective after this deep dive. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up our exploration of the ICT Asian Kill Zone?
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to explore, experiment, and find what resonates with your trading style and risk tolerance. The Forex market is constantly evolving. There's always something new to learn, and who knows, you might even discover your own kill zone in a completely different market.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and, most importantly, a renewed sense of curiosity about the endless possibilities in the world of trading. Until next time, happy trading, everyone.